everyone, I'm back from my hiatus, which has been a while, but I'm glad to be back because I am here to discuss, as you've read the title, Sherlock. Sherlock is finally back. We've been waiting for so long, 2 years since the Reichenbach Fall aired, and there's so much new information and so much stuff going on that I had to make a video about it. So what this video is basically going to be is a summary of all the Sherlock news we've gotten since all the way back in August, and what we can expect from Series 3. Don't worry, no spoilers, I promise. This isn't a setlock video. We're only using information that's been officially announced by the creators and by a website that I use a lot of information from, SherlockCology.com. They're a fantastic website that constantly gives me news updates, has all these different things about Sherlock 24/7, and links in the description below of that website along with every other source I'm going to use in this video. But let's get right to it. First, the big question that all of you are probably here for. When is it coming out? Well, I'm glad to say that just today, on November 29th, we finally got a release date. This morning in London, a hearse drove around in the locations that the show took place in to showcase the exact date that the show would start airing on. And that date would be New Year's 2014. We don't have a specific time yet, but it is officially confirmed that it will be on January 1st, 2014, which is great. We don't have a time yet, but that's okay because it's confirmed that on December 4th, that's when the final scheduling will be announced. So on December 4th, keep an eye out because that's when the time of Sherlock will be released. What's actually more interesting than the release date is the release schedule for all 3 episodes. This is what it is, and again, I'll have links in the description below with all the news in it. On January 1st, An Empty Hearse will air. Then on January 5th, The Sign of 3 will air. And finally, His Last Vow will air on January 12th. That means we'll be having 2 Sherlock episodes on the same week, January 1st and January 5th. Do they want us to die of a heart attack? Now on to the titles of the episodes. Now, I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but I will say what each title represents. Well, the first episode is called An Empty Hearse, an obvious nod to An Empty House, part of the Return of Sherlock Holmes series. The second episode is titled The Sign of 3, which is based off of The Sign of 4, which is the book of Sherlock Holmes. It's not a short story, it's an actual book that was made after A Study in Pink. And the last one, His Last Vow, is actually based off of the title His Last Vow, which is the final book of Sherlock Holmes, so that's kind of interesting, and hopefully not concerning with things about Series 4. We'll have to see, though. Okay, now that that's out of the way, now we're up to what's happening in Series 3, or what do we know about it so far? Okay, so after they finished filming around September, they announced who the new villain is going to be. I'm sorry, guys. Moriarty is gone. They confirmed it a billion times. He shot himself in the head. There's nothing we can do about it. It's heartbreaking because he was awesome. He was Moriarty, but he's gone. And now there's a new villain to take his place. Even though it was officially announced, if you really don't want to know who the villain is, you can click right here to skip this part of the video on to the next piece of information. Everything else should be fine, that you should already know about it because everything's been announced. But the villain, some people like to keep that a secret, so you just skip this part if you don't want to hear it. Okay, hopefully I don't mess up his name, but his name is Charles Augustus Magnuson. He's going to be played by Lars Mikkelsen, which is Mads Mikkelsen's brother, the guy who plays Hannibal right now on NBC. He's in fact based off of an actual Sherlock Holmes character, also named Charles Augustus, but his last name is Milverton, and he is from the short story The Adventures of Charles Augustus Milverton, which is one of the stories in the collection of The Return of Sherlock Holmes, which makes perfect sense because that's what the series is based off of. Alright, now on to the good stuff. On August 2nd, we received our first unexpected teaser trailer of Sherlock. It came out of nowhere, everybody was surprised, and while it's only like 25 seconds, it's still the first sign of the show actually existing in such a long time. Again, there's a link below of the video, but I'm also going to leave it here. Now, a lot of people thought that the footage in this first trailer wasn't actually going to be in the show, that it was just test footage that they used to make a trailer. But then Mark Gatiss, the co-creator of Sherlock, the day later, said that that's not true and that all of the footage was from Sherlock, including these images. The trailer doesn't give us much details, we do get the basic gist of it. And of course, we have to talk about John Watson has a mustache. everyone seems so happy and not happy and weirded out by this, but it doesn't surprise me at all because every single version of the character of John Watson, has had a mustache since the beginning of Arthur Conan Doyle. So I'm happy it actually matches with the show's canon now, and I don't think it's a bad idea, so thought I'd get that out of the way. What is important about this trailer, however, is that this is most likely the moment where Sherlock decided to pull the big guns and say, "Not dead," to John. And we get more confirmation about that in the third trailer. But let's just talk about this one. You can see he's obviously in a restaurant, and why would he be there? Because he probably has a date. But we'll talk about that later once I'm finished with the trailers. It seems pretty odd, though, because Sherlock seems really shocked about something in the last picture I showed you, and I'm not sure if it's him just being nervous that he's gonna tell him, but that doesn't seem like Sherlock, so that's what really intrigues me about this trailer. What is going to happen when John finds out that Sherlock is alive? I have no clue. It's gonna be crazy. Now, the next trailer, like I said, isn't entirely a Sherlock trailer. It's actually a BBC drama trailer that only shows a couple of clips from Sherlock here and there, but they're actually really interesting clips, so that's why I want to talk about it. I'll post a link in the description below, but you can also watch it right over here. The interesting things to take from these trailers is that, one, Sherlock is on a roof, again, and he also is riding a motorbike with somebody. And I know who that somebody is, but of course we'll mention this later after we're done with the trailers. And lastly, we have the first spoken words we've heard of Series 3 ever.
The thrill of the chase, the blood pumping through your veins. Just the two of us against the rest of the world.
That's really exciting, and I can't wait to see that either. Alright, so now for the third trailer. This just came out really recently, and it shocked everybody. It came out right after the Doctor Who 50th anniversary on November 23rd. And it is crazy. It is filled with so much emotion, and it's the final teaser we have until the show actually starts. Hopefully we'll get a full trailer before then. But for now we have this, and I have to say, this is great. Now we really know Sherlock is back. You can watch it right here. So there it is. We have John's reaction to Sherlock being back in the same restaurant that we saw in the first trailer, so we know that's when it's going to happen. Isn't it heartbreaking? And I guess anybody who misses Sherlock tends to grow facial hair because, believe it or not, guys, that was Anderson in a Sherlock fan club. That's the biggest news here, too. I don't think any of us saw it coming. We didn't see the Sherlock fan club coming either. That was unexpected. And I love the idea of the hashtags and on Twitter and how the word just spreads like it is in modern day that he is alive. And wow, Anderson, we got you all wrong, because this is where things change. And that's constantly what BBC has been saying. But things will never be the same, And we'll talk about that next in our next video, because this is a two-parter, and this one's running on for a little bit too long. So you can click on part 2 right here, where we talk about the rest of the news and the big new character that I was mentioning before, Mary Morstan. See you in the next video.